Welcome back, True Seeker. It is Saturday, March 8th, 2025, International Women's Day. And there are three buzzing stories today. One is the young Kansas City Chiefs star receiver who had a big game in the Super Bowl despite his team losing, has been arrested. This is reminiscent of the Rashee Rice story last year in the offseason. Also, at Southern University, a hazing incident gone awry resulted in the death of a young Caleb and the arrest of another Caleb in the fraternity. We're going to see what's so fraternal about this story. And also in Toronto, a manhunt right now after a mass shooting reportedly outside of a pub that injured 12. And the name of that pub was Piper Arms, where, of course, arms is common terminology for a gun. This was the same night of a symbolic Raptors win. We'll take a look at that as well. But day after day, it is news by the numbers. And for some familiar numbers, this is the big story on Saturday, March 8th, 2025, the 67th day of the year. They're saying the arrest was yesterday, but it's today's news. Again, remember, Kansas City. Big number with Kansas City is 67. When they won Super Bowl 58, remember Joe Montana, who finished his career with the Chiefs, was 67 years old, and that's the 19th prime number, and they were the first team to win back-to-back Super Bowls in 19 years. And the game went to overtime, 19-19, and McCole Hardman caught the game winner for his 19th career touchdown, not to mention his name equals 58 like it was Super Bowl 58. But yeah, young Kansas City star arrested on the 67th, the news of his arrest on the 67th day of the year. And, of course, his first name, Xavier, has that gematria of 83 and 38. It's the news on March 8th, which is written 3-8 or 8-3, depending on where you are in the world. His arrest yesterday was March 7th, 3-7, which was 26 days after the Super Bowl. Yesterday was the 66th day of the year. Remember, the Super Bowl was on the 40th day of the year. The winning score was 40 points. They paid tribute to 40 acres and a mule. Again, the old slave code. Slave equals 59, like it was Super Bowl 59. 40 acres and a mule written out as a sentence equates to 105, like it was the 105th NFL season. Again, only the second time in history two black quarterbacks faced off in the Super Bowl. The last time was the first ever Super Bowl on Lincoln's birthday, who freed the slaves, where the whole 40 acres and a mule thing comes from. And, of course, that's part of why Trump also said he wants to get rid of the penny after this year's Super Bowl, which he attended. Of course, Lincoln's on the penny. The point is, it's all ritualism. And again, if you're new here, this practice coding numbers into words. There are 4 base ciphers of the English language. You want to know all 4, the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology. The other thing that is noteworthy is it was 314 days after Xavier Worthy's birthday that he was arrested. 314. It's a bit like pi, 3.14. Pi has to do with circles. Circles have to do with cycles. And again, that's really what the news is once you realize what they're doing. It's the same stuff every year, the same type of programming, same numbers over and over. He was arrested in Georgetown, Texas. Consider Xavier as a Jesuit word, so is Georgetown. Again, the Jesuits run the National Fixed League, all the sports leagues, your media, your government. That's why the nation's capital is essentially in Georgetown, which was established as a university the same year George Washington was recognized as the first president. But Georgetown has that gematria of 42, like slavery, like Tuskegee, like the N-word, like a million things connected to Black history. And again, what these headlines do in the already programmed society, where this just like cultural reinforcement is, some people will look at this and just in the back of their mind, they'll be thinking, another just dumb black young guy, man. He just can't even stay out of trouble. Like, what's wrong with these guys? Millions of dollars. You got to put the whole thing on the line, and these people can't even control themselves. Same thoughts, right? Like, look at those lips, because this is the cultural programming. It's been going on for decades. This is cut and paste of the Rashee Rice story from last year, which made no sense. And keep in mind that they're saying domestic violence, right? So You would imagine it's against a woman. This is the story on International Women's Day. It's just crap programming every day that does, again, just like what I was just mimicking. I guarantee you there's millions of people who will look at this story, and those will be the exact kind of thoughts they have today. That one guy who likes to be the Clayton Bigsby of YouTube, I guarantee he's doing a video just like that today to emphasize those kind of talking points. You got to love how Worthy had 59 receptions in the year, so 59. Just like the Chiefs were the only team who finished the regular season with a point differential of plus 59. And remember, that's because they got blown out in the last week because they benched all their starters, and they lost 0-38 in the 38 state Colorado to cut their point differential down to plus 59 en route to Super Bowl 59. But yeah, those are the main things that stand out in the Xavier Worthy story. And for all the haters, using the knowledge, we did think Xavier Worthy had a great shot to score 2 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, which he did, which was plus 1,200. That's also the value of the knowledge. This one that's making the rounds. Southern University. Caleb arrested for the death of Caleb in a hazing incident. And they say that the death happened on the 58th day of the year, February 27th. If you've been around this channel for a week, you should probably already know why that stands out, the 58th day of the year. Again, in Gematria, fraternal equals 58. We're talking about a fraternity. Secret society equals 58, as does Freemasonry, as does Rosicrucian. Again, go to King James, the Freemason and Rosicrucian, who died unexpectedly at age 58. Go to Donald Trump, who announced from the 58-story Trump Tower that he was running for the 58th election. There were a bunch of deaths en route to Trump winning the rigged selection as the apprentice, which is the first degree of Freemasonry, including Prince. Remember, Vanity died the day of the 58th Grammys, his girlfriend. Then he died shortly after, Mr. Purple Rain, which equals 58. And then he had the convention in the Cavs Stadium after LeBron won on the real King James's birthday. Again, the real King James died at 58. This time around in 2024, he's elected on, remember the 5th of November, the day in history the Jesuits tried to kill King James after the assassination hoax by the numbers. But also, the man who died, Caleb Wilson, his name equates to 115 and 43, like killing. The name of the fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity, is also 115. And here, I'll just plug these in so you can see them. The full title of the fraternity, 115. Caleb Wilson, 115-43. Like I said, notice the 65 as well, because hazing is 65. Killing is 115-43. Hazing 65. And hazing is also 38, like murder, like death, like killing, like RIP. This story is making the rounds today. CNN covered it today. People.com covered it today. The arrest in the hazing death. So other things that stand out, Caleb McRae, the person arrested. Again, Caleb is arrested for the death of Caleb. Caleb McRae has the 86 and 67 in his name, like blood sacrifice, 86, 67. And then the Caleb who died was 20 years old, like death is 20. The Caleb who was arrested is 23 years old, 23. And add those ages together, 20 plus 23, 43. We're just talking about that. There are some other things that are interesting. Notice the overlap with hazing and death. They both have the 38. They both have the 97. They both have the 25. Again, the victim's 20 years old. But yeah, just a perfect example of news by the numbers. And he died shortly after the Super Bowl. You see, he was part of the marching band. And part of me wonders if this photo is from a Saints game this season. It probably was, because I imagine they would have taken down the Saints thing and put up some Super Bowl stuff for the Super Bowl. But that's some additional research that could be done. What day was the Southern University marching band out at the Saints field where this photo that's syndicated and all the stories about them You know, the S, the 19th letter, big number with the Saints. Remember, Saints has the 19 in it. Always a big number with their team. You see how it has the 82 as well. You might remember the first coach to catch the Cooties. The Cooties 19 was the Saints coach at the time, Sean Payton. If I remember right, he caught it 19 days after his birthday, too, if I'm not mistaken. This fraternity was founded on the day leaving 44 days left in the year. Again, kill equals 44, execution 44. Now connected to a deadly hazing ritual in 2025. And realize it's been the year of 9725, a pattern that we said to look out for at the start of the year. 97 is the 25th prime number. Again, the LA fires on the 97th day of the mayor's age. The plane crashes like crazy. A number of other things. But here's another one, hazing. Hazing, 97, the 25th prime. So, again, news by the numbers. Hazing making the rounds on March 8th. And then this one, a manhunt after a shooting that reportedly injured 12 outside a Piper Arms pub. And look at how pub and gun overlap in the 4-base ciphers. They're reflections of each other. They have the exact same 4 numbers, just in reverse. Pub is 39 forwards, gun is 39 in reverse. Pub is 12 with the alphabetic order and numerology applied. Gun is 12 with the reverse alphabetic order and numerology applied. Gun is 42 forwards. Pub is 42 in reverse. And then 15, again, just all the reflections. But again, 12 injured at a pub in a reported mass shooting. They said this happened last night, Friday, March 7th. Notice that was 3-7. Piper's 37. Shootings 37. It was the 66th day of the year. Mass shooting is 66. The shooting was in a suburb of Toronto, Scarborough. Scarborough, abbreviated Ontario, like how you write on an envelope, is 66. Like you're doing postage. And the leader of Canada, Jesuit Trudeau, again, who became the leader in 2015 when Canada equals 15, and his daddy was the 15th prime minister. Remember, on January 5th was the day that it came out that he was going to resign when they find his replacement. But again, this ritual, which is being connected to Toronto, pretty much all the headlines say Toronto because it's a suburb of Toronto. Again, it came 72 days after his birthday. Jesuit Order 72. Toronto 72. And then what stands out is the Raptors last night stayed on 42 losses. The gun pub number, 118 was the winning score, a death number. And I could have mentioned that in the Caleb hazing death. The name of the fraternity has the 118 in it as well. In Jewish gematria, both homicide and death equal 118. And in this case, the story's out of Baton Rouge, which has the same numbers, the 118 as well. But yeah, those were the buzzing stories that I noticed on this Saturday. And as per always, news by the numbers makes you wonder what's really going on. It looks like the Pope is going to pull through for now. Interesting date that he's doing better. On March 8th of all days, he's doing better. It's almost like a reversal. So we'll see. We'll see how far the Pope makes it. Somebody said that if he makes it to 89, let me see if this is true. He became Pope on the 72nd day of the year, the first Jesuit Pope, March 13th, 2013. His birthday is December 17th. Yeah, that's crazy. That's wild. His birthday this year is exactly 666 weeks after becoming Pope. Saw somebody left that comment that if he makes it to 89, it'll be exactly 666 weeks. That's wild. Well, for now, it seems like he's in the clear. Okay. I'm going to put eyes on the chat real quick. I told Sweet Lady I wasn't going to do too long of a stream. And just like when I posted, I said it'll be a quick stream. If there's any other news stories buzzing right now that you want me to cover, now is the time to drop it in the chat. I'm putting my eyes on what you guys got out here. Yeah, I've thought about that too, going back and seeing who died on the campaign trail for Ronald Reagan. I mean, we know they've been doing the same thing since forever. Maybe go back and look at the films he was in. Any of his co-stars passed away on the campaign trail while in office. Be surprising if it didn't happen. Let's see. Is Jody Vance's story you want? I didn't hear about that. Who's Jody Vance? Bodybuilder Jody Vance dies after dehydration causes cardiac arrest. Let's see. Age 20, huh? It was a female bodybuilder. 20, again, death is 20. It's crazy how many deaths there are in the world of bodybuilding. News broke on the 64th day of the year, kill 64. I hate how these sites have all these ads everywhere. Jody Vance was vomiting the morning of her tragic death last week in Columbus, Ohio. Columbus equals 25. Death equals 20. Forwards 25 in reverse. And that is where Ohio State is. Keep in mind the Buckeyes. We know what they did to Johnny Gaudreau right before the football season got underway. Their college championship was in large part thanks to his sacrifice. Along with his brother, they killed both of them. TMZ published the call that Vance's wife made to emergency services on February 27th. There's that 58th day of the year again. And the championship, the championship was on Inauguration Day, January 20th. So this death would have came 38 days later. Death equals 38 and 20. Same thing we're just talking about with the hazing story. 38 days after the team in Columbus wins the championship, a young bodybuilder's dead. So Nesta Columbus downtown hotel. My wife is passed out in bed. She won't wake up. Okay. Vance 20 was later pronounced dead at 12:51 p.m. on Thursday. Here, was that the same day? January 20th, February 27th. Yeah, it was that Thursday. So 38 days after the football championship. Okay, Columbus, Ohio is where the Ohio State Buckeyes are. And would have been a date with 74 date numerology. Killing equals 74 and 38. That you know what? That's also true for that fraternity. The young guy who died in the fraternity, the day had a life lesson number. Okay. Again, the date numerology passed. 2 plus 27 plus 20 plus 25 would be one path, which equals 74. 74 would break down to 11. 11 would break down to 2. The life lesson number path would be 2 plus 27, 29. And then the year digit by digit, 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, which is 38. And you see how so the day that the fraternity member died had the 7438 date numerology. And again, we saw how hazing is 38. And then we saw how the name had the 115 and 43 in it. So that day and the person who died had all the killing connections in the 4 base ciphers. And then she dies on the same day, this 7438 date. Here, let's see her name. And just Ohio and Vance. I mean, is that reminding you of anything? The vice president? Because this was also 38 days after they took office. He's from Ohio. Look at that. Jody Vance. Her name equals 38. Her name also equals 83, like football. And remember when Johnny Gaudreau and his brother died, they said they were killed at 8:30 p.m., 8:30. They were on Route 551, 551, the reflection of 155. This was the 155th college football season that Ohio State won. But yeah, I mean, you can't tell me that's not what's going on. Jody Vance, 38, dead 38 days after the university wins the championship. And how old is she? She's the same age as university students. When you're 20 years old, you're usually at university. Usually about depending on when you started. Man, some people are freshmen. I was 20 my junior year. A lot of sophomores would be 20. But yeah, I mean, isn't it crazy how perfect it is? We're spotting the 38 and we haven't even decoded her name. And then you just decode her name and you go, okay. Connects to death, murder, and football. Again, Murder's 83 and 38. The song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. The movie poster for Murder by Numbers, which I always keep behind me because I have to reference it all the time, has the 3883 encoded in the poster. Again, it came out 38 weeks after Sandra Bullock's birthday. Her name is 83. Her and Ryan Gosling are in that movie. They both experienced some 38 deaths connected. And was that last year or 2 years ago already? The Gosling from the band The Kinks died, like, what was it, 38 weeks after Ryan Gosling's birthday, and then that was while the Barbie movie was big, and then Sandra Bullock's lover was dead about the same time. They're both in that movie. Yeah, I'm sure it's connected to Mr. Vance, the VP from Ohio, but the Columbus thing, again, Columbus just won the championship on Inauguration Day, and that shows you that them winning is. Remember what we've been talking about since the assassination hoax, just days before the convention in Milwaukee, where JD Vance became the youngest VP nominee since McKinley. And see, that's where this whole Columbus thing fits in too, because Columbus is 25. Hold on, I just misspoke. JD Vance became the youngest VP nominee since Teddy Roosevelt, and Teddy Roosevelt became president when McKinley, the 25th president, was assassinated. And then as soon as Trump comes into office, he renames the mountain in Alaska McKinley, or yeah, back to McKinley from what they have it. What's it called? Denali, back to McKinley. But McKinley, the 25th president, it is 2025. And that's also part of the reason the team from Columbus wins the championship to start the year. Let's see. JD Vance, August 2nd birthday. That's the day leaving 151 days left in the year. And she died on the 58th day of the year, so 209 days later. Is that right? August 2nd, 2024 to February 27th. Yeah, 209 days later. 29 weeks and 6 days. That means 156 days to his upcoming birthday. Let's see. Let me see what day he became. I forget exactly what day it was that he became the VP pick. Trump picks JD Vance. Was it July 16th? July 15th. Looks like it was July 15th. It was 2 days after the hoax. Look at that. You see that? Isn't that crazy? From the day that he's picked to the day that girl dies is 227 days, and she died on 227. And remember, a couple things about that number. Ancient and accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry has the 227 in it, and 227 is the 49th prime number, 49th prime. And of course, Washington equals 49. They got their headquarters there. Scottish is 49. 49 is the 33rd composite number. There's a rule with the reduction. Ohio State is 40, like JD Vance, who's 40 years old. But Ohio State has an S in it, which is the 19th letter, and you can reduce the 19 just one time. So it reduces to 10 instead of 1. And then in that cipher, Ohio State is 49. So yeah, 227 days later, on 227, a girl named Vance dies. Yeah, it's wicked. You see this phrase they emphasize: throwing up all morning. There's some standout numbers there. Uh, she died on the. You see the 266. She died on the 58th day of the year, in the time of the 266th Pope, Pope Francis. Pope Francis 58. Again, the Jesuit motto "Isus Omnem Salvator" equals 266 and 274, like throwing up all morning. We were just talking about the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry connection. Notice the 113 and 103. Scottish 113 and 103. So, yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about it. I feel like that's enough. Columbus, Ohio does have the 153 and 54 like Jesuit order. Bodybuilder. Bodybuilder has the same gematria as Columbus, Ohio, forwards and backwards 54 and 63. Looks like Cable 54 strikes again. It would have been the 209th year since the Declaration of Independence. That could be it. I know Trump has the 29 connection, sort of like 209 in numerology terms. And let me see just what comes up with 209 in the database. But yeah, I think it's more about from the day that he was picked. White lives matter. That's funny. I don't think that's the connection. But the other Ohio school has the 209 connection. I don't know what his undergrad is. I know he went to Yale. What's his undergrad? He went to Ohio State. He graduated from Ohio State in 2009. Interesting. Graduated from Ohio State in 2009. But again, 229, 209, 2009, they're all the same in numerology terms. They're 11. I'm just scanning to see if anything in here jumps out about the 209. When the plane flew into the Empire State Building, that was the 209th day of the year at the end of World War II. That's a 209 in history. Scottish Freemason, I don't think that seems like a manipulation. I got to hurry up and finish up here. Told Sweetly I wouldn't stream too long. Worshipful Master's a degree in Freemasonry, but you never know. Maybe that's where he is in the totem pole right now. It's a pretty low degree if you look it up. Worshipful Master. I forget exactly where it is, but it's actually not that far up. Some of those put some like stuff like this. Arizona Sun Devils, you got to stop, man. Arizona's the Wildcats. Arizona State is the Sun Devils. Just putting these false things in the calculator. Yeah, but no doubt a dual sacrifice for JD. And the point I was making, and we've been saying this, I'm just going to make the same point I was making then. Trump has this assassination hoax. JD Vance is picked, the youngest since Teddy Roosevelt, who replaced McKinley, the 25th president, and now this ritual in Columbus, which equals 25, like death. It'd be interesting if we have President JD Vance before the end of the year. I don't think that's out of the question. I would love the story of Donald Trump, a Donald Trump heart attack after a cheeseburger. Great comedy. Um, yeah, that's in the cards. Let me think about this a little bit more real quick. Vance's birthday, August 2nd. JD Vance's birthday is the 214th day of the year. That connects to a couple things. Remember, Church of Satan is 214, which is the highest degree of mega. When Trump lost to Biden in the rigged election in 2020, he couldn't get off 214 electoral college votes. And it's the Republican Party. The Republican Party is also 214. Let me see something from Inauguration Day. His birthday be 194 days later. You know what's interesting? His birthday is 194 days after Inauguration Day, or a span of 195 days. 'Cause remember, the shooting hoax was on the 195th day of the year. I was trying to think of what they could do if it was going to happen before the end of the year. He would become the 48th president, J.D. Vance. His birthday is 49 days after Trump's, isn't it? In light of what we're looking at with the whole 49 thing, 227, the 49th prime. 49 days after Trump's. Yeah, I'll think about it more. I'll think about it more because, again, just that ongoing theme, the assassination hoax, the tribute to Teddy Roosevelt by picking him, the whole McKinley thing that's going on. Now, this, a death perfectly coordinated with JD Vance. And his school, Ohio State. Okay. All right, let me see if let me see what else you guys got out here. Blood clot, yeah, father of the jab, yeah, that'd be fitting as well. Ritz 101, definite troll. Adios, Ritz. And again, I see Cody's in here, but again, when you're saying like, "Oh, have Cody show you how to decode," again, you can tell that's just troll commentary. Cody learned from me. Cody has no history of making any correct predictions. He does have about a history of about 1,000 incorrect predictions. So again, you're leaving comments like that. You got to be out of your mind. I do notice that all the bad decoders, though, do like to reference Cody, but Cody does make some good observations sometimes. I'll give credit for that, but he definitely has not made the work look too great. Uh, yeah, Rich is either a total retard or a troll, and I would lean towards troll. Um, but yeah, I will continue to think about the JD Vance thing and watch the clues because Columbus is 25 town. McKinley was the 25th president. Actually, hold on. Let's look at one more thing. Let's look at McKinley and Teddy Roosevelt history. See where that intersects. McKinley, born January 29th, died September 14th, and he died in Buffalo. They got a statue for him in Buffalo. I remember talking about that when I was there. Uh, he died at age 58. So he died at age 58, right? This bodybuilder girl died on the 58th day of the year. Trump has the connection to 58 through the first time he won the election. Trump also has the connection to Buffalo because after he didn't get the Buffalo Bills, that's when he decided to run for president. That's the story, that he tried to buy the Bills, but then got denied. So September 14th is 43 days after JD Vance's birthday, or you could also say a span of 44 days. We know 44 is the shooting number. And I'm trying to remember off the top. I know there's a 44 in McKinley's death. He did die on 43 date numerology. So yeah, that is interesting. 43 days after JD Vance's birthday is McKinley's death anniversary. This year will be the 124th anniversary of his death, which is the 93rd composite number. And then, hold on, Teddy Roosevelt. Okay. Let's see how long Teddy Roosevelt was VP. It was March, so it did happen in the first year. In the first year of that presidency, Teddy Roosevelt replaced McKinley because of the assassination. Let's go back and look at that. March 4th, 1901, they take office. A date that can be written 4/3. The old inauguration day. September 14th, 1901. It was 194 days later, or the 195th day of the presidency, just like the Trump hoax was on the 195th day of the year. And remember, the guy who got killed, or at least so we're told, the fireman, his name equaled 1495, Corey Contemporary, or how do you spell his name? And don't forget, he worked the Buffalo department, right? Like how McKinley was shot in Buffalo. So see, this whole thing is so perfectly coordinated. I don't think they're going to do the exact same date, but man, if they did, people still wouldn't get it. Teddy Roosevelt's birthday was October 27th. That's the same birthday Philadelphia has. Philadelphia won the Super Bowl this year with Trump in attendance in tribute to Biden. Again, it was 81 days after Biden's birthday. President Biden, 81. They were up 34-0. Biden, 34. The last time the Chiefs and Eagles played was on Biden's birthday, and the Eagles won that game too. And Biden's an Eagles fan, being a Pennsylvania native. No, this needs to be explored more, but this does add to the narrative that JD Vance could replace Trump as soon as this year. Interesting. If history repeated itself, it would happen this year. And The clue's got to be within the dates of these guys' birthdays and what happened in history. What's the here? What's the 195th day? Or wait, the 195th day of this administration is August 2nd, right? JD Vance's birthday. Yeah. The day after August 3rd would be 195 days after they took office. That'd be something. What you know? What else? Here's something else that's interesting, actually. Now that I think about it, Skull and Bones, right? The date that McKinley got shot can be written 14/9, like 149. JFK was born on the 149th day of the year. Trump has parallels with him too. And JFK was killed in Dallas, which equals 41. But JD Vance is going to turn 41 on August 2nd. 41. Going to be 48th president. Just out of curiosity, what's the composite relationship with 48? It's the 32nd composite number. Yeah, I'm going to put more thought into that. I do need to wrap this up, though, for now. I told Sweet Lady I wasn't going to go too long. Yeah, that's the point I'm making, Gabe. That the Trump thing was on the 195th day of the year, and the fireman who was killed, his name equaled 195, and he was part of the Buffalo Fire Department. And then looking back at this, Teddy Roosevelt replaced McKinley on the 195th day after he was shot in Buffalo after McKinley was. So, and maybe go back and look into the guy that Butler, Pennsylvania is named after as well. Yeah, if I recall, he died at age 40. Butler, PA's got that 49 connection. Okay, but yeah, good observation on the death of the young bodybuilder woman, because yeah, what another disgusting ritual in tribute to our puppet government and our rigged sports leagues. Yeah, that's right. Butler from the A's hit 3 home runs the next day, and the A's started out in Pennsylvania. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think we'll leave it there for now. I'll do some more thinking on if they really are going to have history repeat itself. One more thing I want to check is what day did Trump rename Denali as McKinley? And keep in mind, Alaska is the 49th state with this whole 227 49th prime thing. January 24th, 124. I was just saying it's been 124 years since that happened. Wow. Look how they do that. Wait, did it happen on, hold on. What day did it happen? Because then I see another headline. All right. They did it officially on 123, the day before. But hold on. I guess technically right now, the 124th anniversary will be September 14th this year. So really, we are actually at 123 years and change. And Trump officially changed it back to McKinley on 123. 123 years ago at this time, he would have been the president. So I guess that does make sense. All this stuff that they do, and just so many people are just completely clueless. I think Obama changed the name to Denali, number 44. All right. That's right. Richard Butler died at age 48, like Donald Trump's 48. Thank you, Dale. Good research. Okay, yeah, if you guys want to do some brainstorming on if they are going to make history repeat itself, it should happen in the first year of the administration. And it does make me think, though, that since the last major assassination in U.S. history was in Dallas with the 41st, well, he wasn't the 41st president yet, but George H.W. Bush, number 41, was there that day. Dallas also has the 49 connection, huh? But it makes me think when J.D. Vance turns 41, makes me think it would be sometime after his August 2nd birthday. August 9th is the day leaving 144 days left in the year. It's the day that JFK's infant child died right before his own assassination. And remember, Papa Bush, the Skull and Bones number, Papa Bush, born on the day leaving 202 days left in the year. He was in Dallas, 41 land, when the president born on the 149th day of the year was killed, and that's the 35th prime, going with JFK being number 35, killed on I-35. And then his son, born July 6, 76, who was the 43rd president. And Trump has that 76 connection, too. His full name, Donald John Trump, is 76. Yeah, it's all starting to make more sense now because maybe we covered that back in July when we did the deep dive on it, but I don't know if I did catch that Roosevelt replaced McKinley on the 195th day of the administration. Hold on. With Skull and Bones, hold on. All right, he was picked on July 15th. What's 322 days later? He wouldn't be 41 yet, though. Hold on. Whoops. What am I doing here? July 15th, 2024. 12 days before that. June 2nd is 322 days after he was picked. It's the 153rd day of the year. Interesting. Just real quick, how does it line up with the Ides of March coming up? Because remember that shooting outside of the Luigi Mangione shooting was 47 days before Inauguration Day, and that's a 47-story hotel, and that's where Trump was in 2016, the night of the election. 243 days later, that's the Central Intelligence Agency number. All right. I'm going to continue to think on it, though, but this ritual does make me think. We've been saying it for a while that the J.D. Vance pick suggested that he might become the president like Teddy Roosevelt. And again, that did happen in the first year back then. The 25th president replaced by number 26, and now all this business in 2025, including the death of a Vance in Columbus. Thank you, LaDonna Franklin. I appreciate that. All right. All right. Doing some line brainstorming, but I do got to wrap it up. I'm going to put a little post together for the bodybuilder. If you guys post on my website, a lot of you guys continue to post on YouTube and then get frustrated that your comments get deleted. Try leaving the app sometime. Try visiting my website. Better place to leave a comment. It just sucks how everything's down. I just know that the work really is dead because my blog, my old blog, not even my new one, my old one, like back when this work got a lot of views, my blog averaged over 50,000 views per day. My blog right now averages, I'm pretty sure the only people that look at my blog are the sports people, the people that go there to read the sports posts. It gets like 1,000 views a day. So again, about a 50th of what I got nearly a decade ago. But yeah, just the same stuff from a lot of people. Oh, they deleted my comment again. They deleted my comment again. It's like, yeah, they've been doing that for years now. It's how they keep the channel down, the algorithm. Why not leave your comment at my website? That'd be helpful. It won't get deleted. So yeah, I'll make a post about this, about the death of Jody Vance. If you think about anything with the JD Vance thing, you can try to leave your comment here, but I'd copy it before you post it. So if it gets deleted, you can repaste it somewhere else. But yeah, this YouTube channel is super dead. It's killed in the algorithm. And again, deleting comments seems like more get deleted than stay. So, all right. All right. Yeah, I'll work more on solving this little riddle that they got going. All right, we'll leave it there for now. Again, thanks everyone who hits the like and the share. And until next time.